Hello, you join me here at Amsterdam Centraal. I'm here in the Netherlands for a little getaway for a few days. I'm here on an Interrail ticket, which means that I have unlimited train travel here in the Netherlands, and I thought what better way to exploit that than to try and go on every single type of train in the Netherlands. Well, I say every single type of train, I don't mean every single one by every single train operator, because that would take forever. I'm just doing NS, Nederlander Spoorwegen, which is the nationalised national operator of the Netherlands. They operate the majority of services here in the Netherlands, and they have 7 main train types. So I'm going to try and go on every single one of those types, so 7 different types of train, I guess. That's the easiest way to explain it. So the 7 different types of train that I'm trying to get on today are the SLT, the Flirt, and SNG trains. They are the 3 classes of sprinter trains. The DDZ, the VIRM, the ICM, and the ICNG are the 4 different intercity trains. Now, NS did used to run loco hauled services on the intercity direct services, which were from here in Amsterdam to Breda and Brussels via Rotterdam. However, they've been withdrawn, I believe, late 2025 or early 2026. They withdrew their locomotive haul stock, and now the ICNG new trains, the new generation trains, they now run those services. Now, I don't have a game plan really at all, so I don't really know what I'm doing. I know that the VIRM and sprinter trains should be quite easy to tick off because they're so common, but the ICM and DDZ trains, they're more rare, and I have to go to sort of, for the ICM I have to go sort of northeast a bit, and for the DDZ I have to go south towards Breda. And the ICNG trains, I think they're quite common now. Last time I was here 2 or 3 years ago in the Netherlands, they were only just being rolled out. I actually made a video on them. So yeah, time to head into the station. I think I'm going to try and get one of the ICM, the old trains, the oldest intercity trains that NS run. I'm going to try and get one of them. So let's go into the station and go on every single train in the Netherlands that NS operate. Right, made it to platform 10B here at Amsterdam Centraal. There's a Eurostar train just next to me. I assume it's just come from Paris or somewhere. We are getting the first type of train is going to be the ICM, the oldest train, I think, in operations here in the Netherlands. It's definitely the oldest train operated by NS. The very old intercity style trains, which look like a Boeing 747 with their very distinctive cab layout. We're going to be getting that train to Hilversum. I think that's how you pronounce it. We're going to be going there. It's like 20 minutes or something. Ah, there it is, coming in behind us. They do look the part. They look very, very funky indeed. So let's get on it and let's go to Hilversum. So yes, you join me here on an ICM train, also known as the Koploper. The Koploper, literally in Dutch, means head walker, because it has walk-through heads, as they're called, because the cab literally is above the gangway where you can walk through between 2 trains. However, this was discontinued in the early 2000s, 2005. The heads, the walkways, the gangways were sealed up because they were rarely used by passengers and were quite unreliable. Now, these trains date back as far as 1976, with full-scale production commencing in 1983 up until 1994 by the manufacturer Talbot. Now, the ICM-1 and ICM-2 were the original subclasses, which were built before the 1990s, and from 1990 to 1994, the ICM-3 and ICM-4 classes were constructed. I'm assuming here that this is the one that we're on at the moment. It's one of the later variants, because there's only 30 or 40 or so still in operation. These are the, oh, it's very bright, these are the ICM-M, the modernised ICM, which have added 13% more seats, new interiors, wheelchair accessible, bathrooms, air conditioning, as well as upgrades in terms of reliability. Now, their maximum speed is 140 km an hour, though they can technically reach 180 km an hour, but they don't do that in regular service. 144 Koploper units were built in total. However, apparently around 6 carriages, so 2 units per week, have been scrapped since the start of July 2025 per week. Now these have been replaced by ICNG trains, which will go on in a bit. The intercity new generation, they're called, which have been slowly rolling out since 2022, 2023. And I think by the end of 2026, all of these old trains will be withdrawn, so this might well be my last time on an old Koploper train. And if you're interested, these ICM trains literally mean intercity materiel, which is simply the Dutch for intercity train, intercity rolling stock. Pretty basic stuff, but that's what these ICM trains are. And we're going to take it to Hilversum, and then I've got like a 3-minute change for a train that I sort of want to get, which goes all the way to Breda, and that is an ICNG intercity direct new train, so that would be nice to take that one off. And then in Breda we can tick off some of the other types of trains. It's like a 3-minute change, so I sort of need to make it. Right, we're putting into Hilversum now. I have like 2 minutes to go from platform 3 to platform 5 to make the train to Breda. I have a feeling it might already be in. It's meant to leave at exactly the same time as this one leaves, but I think we get in a little bit earlier. At least I'm hoping so, or else I don't know if I'm going to make the train that I want. And then I'm going to have a little wait here in Hilversum. I think it's that platform there. I mean, I need to move over here to leave. But yeah, I think it's over there. Oh, this is going to be a little run. It's not in yet though. That's a good thing, it's not in. Anyway, welcome to Hilversum. You're not going to see much of it, sadly. Talk about good timing. That's the Koploper. That is the ICNG, the intercity new generation. We're going to get this to Breda. It's a good hour and a bit. Actually, this train terminates at Breda, so we're getting it all the way. This is an intercity direct train, so it's a super fast one, which I think costs more, but it's included in my pass. So yeah, I've seen videos of people saying that these trains aren't very good. But here I am, sitting on a sofa, which is more comfortable than the sofa in my house. We're leaving Hilversum. The train's new, quiet. It's nice. So what is there to say about these trains? Oh, as a sprinter train comes past. So what is there to say about these trains, the ICNG, the intercity new generation? Wow, these trains were built by Alstom with 200 kilometers an hour being their top speed, so these are high-speed trains. NS initially ordered these trains in July of 2016 with 49 5-car and 38 car trains being ordered, worth 800 million euros. Eventually this was expanded with international variants. There were 28 special ICNG B trains, the B for Belgium, because these trains were going to be built to replace the local hauled services on the routes from Amsterdam and Rotterdam into Brussels and the rest of Belgium. In total, 77 units have been ordered. They are just really nice, level boarding as well, which none of the older trains had. Now their speed conventionally on most of the Dutch main line is 160 kilometers an hour, which is 100 miles an hour, but that rises to 200 kilometers an hour, which is 125 miles an hour on the special high-speed sections. But these trains have been delayed and delayed and delayed. They originally planned entry into service for around 2021 or 2022, but they only entered service in April of 2023 due to COVID, and since then they've been rolled out a lot more. I don't actually know the specific numbers, but I assume they're not all in service because there's obviously still some of the older ICMs in service, the old Koploper trains. But I believe probably by the end of 2026 they'll all be rolled out into service. And yeah, overall, I quite like these trains. The ICNGs, they're nice, and I think they will prove to be good trains. I really don't understand why people dislike them. They seem to be very functional trains. I mean, maybe they're not the most reliable. I don't know. I don't know all the facts about them. So maybe if you're Dutch, you can let me know in the comments below why these trains are not entirely liked. But I quite like them, and they're a huge upgrade to the old loco hauled stock. But yeah, I do think reliability issues have plagued them a bit. But this one's running on time, and it's hopefully going to take me to Breda, where we'll then probably tick off some of the sprinter trains, and maybe the DDZ intercity trains, which are also some of the older trains. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, let's go to Breda first on this pretty damn nice train. Right then, welcome to Breda. except not quite. We made it to Rotterdam Centraal. You know how I was saying earlier that I'm not too sure how reliable these trains are. Well, train's been cancelled. Although it's not its fault, actually. It was running fine. Something's happened just outside Rotterdam. Points failure or something with the track. The guard tried to say in broken English. He did a good job, in all fairness. So, yeah, the train's been cancelled here, and I'm not sure what's next. He said 20-minute wait for the next train to Breda. I do still want to go to Breda because that's where some of the Flirt type of sprinter trains come from. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with that, I guess. They are good trains, the ICNG, so yeah, that's the second one, 2 out of 7, and well, we've only been going for just over an hour, so we haven't done too badly. But yeah, it's a shame we haven't made it to Breda because, well, that would have been better than being stuck here, I guess. I don't know when the next train is. There's a train to Brussels there, but I don't really want to go to Brussels. Train to Eindhoven, here it is, 12:45, Eindhoven via Breda. So we'll get this, unless I can think of some. There's a 12:35 to Dordrecht. Do I go there? It's a sprinter, so that will be another type of train. I'm not sure what type of train this one is to Eindhoven. That's in 5 minutes from platform 6. Maybe we'll go to Dordrecht. And worst case, we can come back and go to Breda or something. It'll be fine. But that takes off another train and it leaves in 5 minutes. And I'm not too sure. This Eindhoven train now says diverted between Rotterdam and Breda due to too much delay. Does that mean it's not going to Breda? I don't know. I think maybe I'll take the train to Dordrecht. Now I actually can't remember what type of sprinter this is, so I'll look it up on my phone and then get back to you. But here's a sprinter train to Dordrecht. Very dirty. I'm not going to see much out of that. These are the Sprinter New Generation trains, which is the first Sprinter trains that we've been on in this video. They're built by CAF, and they replaced the SGMM Sprinters, which were built between the 70s and 80s. Now, the first order came in December 2015 at 500 million euros. 118 trains were ordered, and then later a 400 million euro extra contract for an extra 88 trains, taking the total number of sets to 205, with the final unit entering service in May 2023. That marked the end of the introduction period for these new trains. The SNG trains have a top speed of 160 kilometers an hour and are of course fully accessible. They have all the modern equipments. They have plug sockets, and these seats actually are the same seats as the Transport for Wales Class 197s, despite the 197s running much longer routes than these, because these are of course all local Sprinter commuter services. And these trains have helped to increase the amount of services NS run by up to 1,400 per week since COVID. But yeah, we're on the approach now to Dordrecht. This is the SNG Sprinter trains. They also have this like nice artwork, which you can sort of just see behind me up here, almost like mosaic style. But yeah, coming to Dordrecht, I think the next train I want to tick off is the Flirt Sprinter trains or the DDZ intercity trains, because they're only found here in South. We're sort of closer to Antwerp than we are to Amsterdam. But yeah, these trains, not bad. They accelerate very quickly, I must say. And they look kind of cool too. So yeah, it's just a shame I can't see anything because the windows were so dirty. So yeah, the Sprinter New Generation gets a tick. That's 3 out of 7 now. And let's see where we can go next. Right, welcome to, well, rather wet Dordrecht. I think we just missed a downpour. This train's now going to Den Haag. I am staying here for half an hour or 45 minutes. The train that I want, the next train that I'm going to tick off is a Flirt, and the next one of them is in half an hour, which does go all the way to Arnhem Central or somewhere, but we're going to take it to Breda, like 20 minutes away. So we are going to go to Breda on a Flirt, which is a new train for me here in the Netherlands. I don't know what there is here in Dordrecht. I don't know anything about Dordrecht. This is a completely new place for me. Right, welcome on board the Flirt train. this is the second out of 3 sprinter trains that we're going to take off today. Going to take this to Breda. We're finally going to go to Breda, and then we can try, I think I'm going to try and get the DDZ trains next, the intercity ones. So I'm going to try and get them. Right, so I have made it to Breda. I'm sitting in a train at the moment. I'm sitting in one of the ICNGs, which we were on earlier, mostly because it's quite cold on the platforms, and this train's here, and it's not leaving for like 20 minutes, so I'm using it as a waiting room, basically. Made it here to Breda on board the Flirt train, which we will talk about. I was having my lunch and I got sidetracked and I didn't record the information about the Flirt trains. Breda's a cool station. It's very sort of modern, brutalist. It's gone through a big renovation, refurbishment works in recent years, and yeah, it's cool. We were on the Flirt 3 trains, which are actually ordered as a stopgap in 2015 because NS sort of didn't have enough trains and they wanted to withdraw their old trains, and the SNG trains we were on earlier weren't in service at that point. So 58 of these sets were ordered, 33 3-car and 25 4-car trains from Stadler. They're probably my favourite sprinter trains because they're so smooth. Stadler just makes some very good trains. December 2016, 24 Flirts were in service, all of them entering passenger services by 2018. They're very reliable, no hiccups, level boarding. They're cool trains. They operate a lot in the south of the Netherlands, hence why I had to come down here towards Breda to go on them. Although that train was looping all the way around to Arnhem, I think it was. That's like a 3.5 hour journey or something on a sprinter train, which, yeah, I mean, the seats were nice, but I don't know if they're 2 or 3 hour nice. Here at Breda, we've got 20 minutes or 10 minutes, 15 minutes until our DDZ intercity train. So yeah, I will get off this train because even though it leaves in 10 minutes, I don't want to accidentally go back towards Amsterdam. We're doing that later, but I need to get a DDZ train first, so let's get one of them. Hello, welcome to Etten-Leur station. The NS drivers are really friendly. Here we are at Etten-Leur. I'm just crossing on the platform. We have like 10 minutes here. Well, I can talk about the history of the DDZ trains. They do have quite an interesting history, actually. The most interesting part is that they weren't actually originally intercity trains. Yeah, I've got about 10 minutes to talk about the DDZ trains, or as they were originally known, DDAR. The trains were built between 1992 and 1996. So the trains were originally called DDAR, the Double-Decks Agro-Regio Material. I assume double-decker regional train. And yeah, they were originally sort of sprinter, sort of intercity, sort of like a mix, but I think they ran sprinter services and they had this like ugly yellow and weird light blue livery which just didn't look very nice. That was until 2009 when they received midlife refurbishment, turned into intercity trains, completely new interior, new livery and new name. They are going to be called DDZ, which stands for the Double-Decker Zonering. Double-decker zoning train, because the trains would have one level would be like work, quiet, shh level, and another level would be party level where you can talk. I was sitting at the very front, which is where the engine is. I was sitting on top of the engine, basically, on the top deck. And that top deck had like little stickers, which had like people talking, so I assume that was you can talk. And I assume other carriages are quiet carriages. So that was the concept behind it, I guess. The trains inside are okay. They're clearly older inside than the other, like the ICNG train. They don't have plugs. The seats just looked worn. Yeah, they weren't the nicest, but they're not bad. I'm not a huge fan of double-decker trains just because you have to go on stairs, and when it's moving, that's quite difficult. But they're fun, I guess. We don't have them much in the UK, so it's always a little bit different to go on one. There are 49 DDZ sets which run as 3 or 5 car double-deck trains. Now the section with the engine underneath it where I was is apparently called the Bo car, which is just a great name, the Bo. Apparently they have 22,000 seats across the whole fleet, which is fun. They operate with a top speed of 140 kilometers an hour, so significantly lower than quite a lot of the other trains, even sprinters. The trains actually suffered a little bit of withdrawals in 2020. On the 3rd of December 2020, there was unexplained shaking noises at high speeds, which led to their withdrawal, complete fleet withdrawal. For a few months, they had sort of a mini refurbishment of the train's mechanics, new brakes. They were extensively tested with the trains returning in 2021. They are being replaced, well, I say being replaced, due to be replaced by the DDNG, which is the double-decker new generation, by around 2029. Production is has either begun or is very imminently going to begin. There's going to be 60 of these new double-decker trains rolled out to replace these DDZs. So these don't have too long left. If you want to go on one of these, you're about 3 to 4 years. Now, about 5 minutes until our train back to Breda, and then we'll be back north towards Amsterdam. I don't know where yet. We've got 2 more trains to tick off after this one. Well, we've already been on this one, so 2 more trains, I guess. So we made it to Rotterdam. The train pulling in behind me is one of the intercity new generations, but it's one of the special ones, which is specially designed for services to Belgium. So this has come from Brussels, has a slightly different livery. I'm not sure if the interior is any different, but yeah, we're going to take this to Schiphol Airport. That was all very quick, but I literally just got off the train, and opposite was this VIRM train to Sloterdijk. So we're going to get this one stop. This is a VIRM, the last intercity train that we needed for today at Sloterdijk. We'll talk a little bit about these trains. They're quite interesting, and they're one of the most common types of trains in the Netherlands. And then we just need one sprinter train, and then we'll be done. It's taking a long time. Just leaving Amsterdam Centraal now. So yes, the VIRM trains are some of the most common trains on the Dutch network, with 178 sets in total in operation, 98 4-carriage and 86 carriage sets. The sets were originally known as DDIRM, or double-decker inter-regional rolling stock, with 34 3-car and 47 4-car sets being constructed between 1994 and 1996. In 2000, NS ordered 128 new coaches to extend these original DDIRM sets. They also gained a new name, the VIRM sets, the V standing for verlengd, which is basically extended. Hence, the new VIRM name came about. The VIRM 2s were built in 2002 and 2003, and were the first VIRMs to be fully built under the VIRM name, with 13 4-car and 12 6-car sets being constructed. The VIRM 3s were constructed between 2003 and 2005, being only 6-car sets, with 21 of these being ordered and manufactured. The VIRM 4s are much later, being ordered between 2008 and 2009, all of them being 4-car sets, with 51 in total. All the VIRMs have been built by Talbot, or later Bombardier, or later now Alstom, with all VIRMs having undergone at least at some point a heavy refurbishment, which has seen the trains being completely refurbished inside. The VIRM 1s were refurbished between 2015 and 2020, with the VIRM 2 and VIRM 3 trains being refurbished between 2021 and 2024. These refurbishments are different, as they receive the new NS Flow livery, which is a bold, blue and yellow livery which differs a lot to the current intercity livery on most other Dutch trains. The VIRM 4s are currently undergoing this refurbishment, which is expected to conclude in 2028 at a cost of just over €300 million. Overall, the VIRMs are pretty good trains, and since their refurbishment, inside they are pretty nice, and I quite like them. Even if they are probably the most boring Dutch trains because they're the most common type, they are good and they do their job quite well. Plus they're double-decker, which for me as a British person
is always quite fun to have in our train. Their history is much more complicated than I've set out, so I'm sure somewhere online you can find much more detailed information about the VIRMs if you so desire. However, now it's time to go on the last NS train which I need in today's video, which is the SLT Sprinter train. So let's get on one of those.
Hello, you join me on a bench at Amsterdam Centraal. Here we are at Amsterdam. We have now covered every single train. The SLT train just over on my right has come in from Zandvoort. It's going to go back out again to Zandvoort, I think. We've done every single class / type of train in the Netherlands that NS operate. Obviously we haven't done every single one. We haven't done every variant, but we've practically done every broad type of train. However, we should have a little talk about the SLT trains because they're quite interesting as well. Now they stand for the Sprinter Light Train, which is based off the Deutsche Bahn Class 425, which has been in service on the S-Bahn network since 1999. An order for, I believe, 35 4-car sets was placed by NS in 2005, with the SLT being constructed between 2007 and 2012, jointly by Bombardier and Siemens. Eventually the orders were increased and now there's 131 units, 69 4-car units and 62 6-car units, with the ability to run them as much as 10 carriages. It's limited to 140 kilometers an hour on the Dutch network, but it can go as fast as 100 miles an hour, 160 kilometers an hour, with this Sprinter train being, I believe, the first Sprinter train and maybe the first train in the Netherlands to have no interconnecting doors between the carriages. Now they were originally quite unreliable with onboard computer issues, with NS pausing the introduction of the units during their early years. In December 2010, melted snow caused 2/3 of the fleet to be withdrawn due to short circuits, forcing NS to bring back some of their older trains, which they had recently retired. There's also a frustration as these trains don't have toilets. Quite a few of the new trains do have toilets. I believe they have been retrofitted into these now, but originally they had no toilets, but they have now put them in. Now as for their replacements, there's not actually much. They don't know. They're still quite young, I guess. They're what, only 20, 21 years old now, the oldest ones. So yeah, they're quite young. There's talks about maybe new Flirt Flex trains being brought in, but I'm not too sure how true that is. I'm not from the Netherlands, obviously. I'm sort of here just to enjoy going on the train. So I've been using not super in-depth research for this video. Talking about this video is coming to an end now. We've been on every single type of train, the 3 Sprinter trains and the 4 intercity trains that Nederlander Spoorwegen operate. 7 different types of train in person. We've been quite far, to be fair. We've been to Rotterdam, we've been to Breda, we've been to some other random stations, Dordrecht, other places, which I can't remember the name of off the top of my head. We've done quite a lot. And I hope you have enjoyed this video, going on every single Dutch NS train. If so, do smash like, subscribe, consider joining the channel for this 99p a month. This trip to the Netherlands wasn't free, so if you do like my videos, if you are a subscriber, you've watched a lot of my videos and you can give a little bit. I know not everybody has money to spare. Watching these videos is more than okay, but if you do want to support me further, you can join the channel as a member, get exclusive perks and exclusive videos. So thank you very much if you are a member or you decide to join from this video. Once again, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.
And of course a huge thank you to my YouTube and Patreon members, including my first class members Aaron Barry, Crispin McKee, JB NEL, Phil Smith and Tom Kennedy. My business zone members Andrew Bowen, Anthony James Moore, ARK, Connor Gregg, Clive's Travel and Trains, Craig Mitchell 43, Daniel Burford, Dave CDF, Henry Joy, Jay Teco, Gal Yalev, Lewis C21, Martin Thomas, NJTE, Ollie G, OVTUG Alex, Real, SZWL, Train Life GB, Tom Kennedy, Welsh Train Enthusiast, Will Ho and Zach Renfrey, as well as my standard premium and standard class members. You can help support me and my work from as little as 99p a month, or get your name on this list from as little as £2.99 a month. All your support is greatly appreciated. By becoming a member, you get access to all of my videos early, as well as exclusive members only videos, so do check it out if you want to help support my work any further. Once again, thanks for watching. Check out my Discord server, Blue Sky and Twitter in the links in the description below, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.